Have you ever felt so frustrated by something going on in Premiere that you think should be so simple, but it's not? And so you finally just wind up giving up, deleting everything, and starting over? Yep, me too. So today, let's go through some of those Premiere mistakes together and the solutions one by one. If you're new here and this is your first video of mine, then welcome. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Adrienne and I make tutorials on video editing. Problem number one. Have you ever tried to resize a mask in Premiere, but it doesn't change proportionally? All you have to do is hover your mouse over one of these little dots. Then when you press and hold Shift and then click the mouse to resize the mask, you can see it grows proportionally. Problem number two, you have a bunch of footage that you've decided you'd like to slow down. Once you slow it down, you decide maybe it could use the warp stabilizer effect. Premiere will not let you do both of these things. And it doesn't matter which order you do them in. Change the speed and then add the effect, or add the effect and then change the speed. Premiere doesn't like it. It's not gonna let you. Why? There are two solutions to this problem. One option is you can add one of the effects, like the warp stabilizer, first. Then nest your clip. And then go in and change your speed. Here's your other solution. Let's say that you knew you wanted these clips to be slow motion when you sat down to edit your video, so you intentionally shot them at a higher frame rate. Once you drag your footage into Premiere, you can go into your project panel and change the frame rate there. Here's my clip. I'm gonna right-click, modify, interpret footage, and then assume this frame rate. Type in the frame rate that you would like to use. You can see that it's changed. Drag and drop it onto your timeline. And from there, you can add the warp stabilizer. Okay, here's a question for you. Have you ever added several keyframes to a clip and then gone on to edit, realized you wanted to make a change, and so you went back to that clip and just shortened it? But then you're watching your video and all of a sudden that clip is doing something bizarre, but you can't find the keyframe that must be making it do that weird thing. Then you remember, oh yeah, I added a bunch of keyframes before I shortened that clip. So you have to go drag that clip to a new track on your timeline, pull it back out, find the keyframe, delete it, re-shorten it, and then hopefully it works just fine. You do not have to actually do all of that. Here is what you do instead. Go up to Effect Controls and click on these three lines. It opens up a little hidden menu all the way down and deselect Pin to Clip. Now you can go over here, you can see all of your keyframes in the Effects tab, and you'll be able to do whatever it is that you wanted to do, like delete that keyframe. Next up, have you ever recorded something like an interview, and then you go to dump all of your footage into Premiere? You drag footage onto the timeline and there's no audio. Panic not, my friends. Jesus. If you can hear that lawnmower, that's not me, that's my entire cul-de-sac. But not me. So look. No audio. Oh no, where did it go? First, double click on the clip, check your source monitor. Yes, there is definitely audio on this clip, but where is it? The good news is that you did remember to turn on your microphone while you were recording. So next, just check your timeline. Did you remember to select your audio track? Make sure your video track and your audio track are selected. Go back up, pull your clip down, and look, there's your audio. Staying on the topic of problematic audio clips, have you ever had an audio clip just go missing? You're rewatching your sequence and all of a sudden there's a person on the screen and their mouth is moving, but there's no audio. Nothing is coming out. Where did the clip go? Where did my audio go? How did that even happen? Okay, I cannot tell you how it happened, but I can tell you an easy way to fix it. All you have to do is select that clip on the timeline and then hit the F key. This will open up the clip in your source monitor at the exact frame where it starts on your timeline. So then you go up to your source monitor, you drag the audio only, bring it down, pop it underneath your video clip, and you're good to go. Next up is putting a 1920 by 1080 clip onto a 4K timeline. You drag that clip onto the timeline and you look in your program monitor and it's teeny tiny. Premiere is not going to resize that for you. But here's something that you can do if you have a lot of clips that are like this. Go to your Premiere Pro menu, down to Settings, Media, Default Media Scaling, set to frame size. Have you ever had a bunch of clips on your timeline and you tried to copy and paste something over, but it wound up just totally messing up your timeline? Well, here's what you do instead. If you're on a Mac, you hold down the Option key, or on a PC, you hold down Alt. And then you select your clip and you drag it up onto the next video track. And when you let go of the mouse and then of Option, there it is. It's been duplicated. It's been copied. Now you can drag it and place it anywhere that you want to on the timeline. What about unnesting a sequence? How do you do that? So let's just review really quickly. A nested sequence is when you either have a lot of clips all stacked on top of each other, or you don't have a lot of clips stacked on top of each other, but you do have a few complex things going on in a series of clips, and so you want to collapse all of them onto their own timeline just to keep your primary timeline a little bit cleaner. In order to nest your clips, you highlight all of them, right click, and then you hit nest. And there it is. And then if you double click it, you open them up onto their own timeline, and there they all are. But if you notice, there's no option to unnest. What do? All you do is you go over to your project panel and select your nested sequence. Now you come down to the sequence panel and you deselect this button. Now, when you drag the nested sequence onto the timeline, you get every single clip. And that's it from me. If you'd like to see more, I hope you'll subscribe. Be sure to leave a comment below if you have more questions about Premiere that I haven't addressed here in this video, and I'll see you in the next one. My name is Adrienne, and I make video tutorials on video editing. Video tutorials. Duh.